Hello, everyone.
Howdy.
You join us on a very dark and stormy night here in Scotland. Hopefully, I'm going to have a roof on my house when I wake up in the morning and my windows don't get blown in. But
You know, you're not allowed, as a writer, you're not allowed to say those words. It's a curse.
That is true, yeah. But yeah, we'll carry on regardless, and hopefully this recording won't get interrupted by the destruction of my property. But anyway, welcome aboard, everyone. This is the last orders for Open Bar 81. We had, I think, a record-breaking stream last Thursday. It was like well over 17,000 people watching us live, which is super duper.
Damn.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And who knows, maybe soon we'll get up to that magical 20K live viewers. We'll see how we do.
If they release the Ray movie.
Yeah. That would be glorious. But anyway, we can but hope. But for the time being, we've got a whole bunch of super chats to answer from the other night. So I'm just going to dive right in.
Sweet.
Jamaican Bacon says, "Hi, drinker. Give Society of the Snow a try." All right, maybe I will. Matthew Hammond says, "Did you see what the director of the American Society of Magical Negroes, Justice Smith, said to TMZ? He recommended whites shorten the title to simply American Society." Okay, sure. I mean, I'm probably not going to watch it in either case, but whatever makes you happy, sir. Echoes of the Ancients gave me a super sticker, so thank you, man. Simon Ho says, "Star Wars creators, a vindictive producer, a Mary Sue, a sex offender's assistant, a gay cowboy, and an activist who likes to make men uncomfortable. What could possibly go wrong?" I know, it just sounds perfect, really, doesn't it? Marksman of 117B, any plans to watch Has Been Hotel? Drops tomorrow. I'm not too familiar with that. Has Been Hotel.
Yeah, I got nothing on that. All I've seen is some people have called it satanic. I saw a tweet that said it was hell propaganda.
Oh, perfect.
I think the premise is just like people who live in hell trying to get out of it or some shit. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but I also have not seen it.
Oh, is it meant to be like almost portraying Satan as the good guy or something? Or am I thinking of a different thing?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but even still, like, it could be funny or whatever.
Yeah. Roger Rubio says, "MauLer, just received all 3 of the makeshift vinyl orders. I got me a Rags, a Fringy, and a MauLer. Long live the long man. They came out great."
Yeah, I thought they came out great as well. Mine have finally arrived. I've got a big stack of them. I'm going to find a place to store them for the inevitable giveaway that I'll do in 10 years from now.
Yeah, I've got mine is on the shelf behind me. I don't have my webcam on right now because the lighting's not on, but yeah, it's there. And so the MauLer plushie and the vinyl figure are kind of lurking within the
I got a
shelf.
Display cabinet. It's just getting stuffed with plushies. Like, I don't know how long it'll be before I run out of space, but it's gonna happen.
Azzy's wonky eyebrow says, 81 years of Open Bar. Hail the panel and chat mods. Thank you, my friend.
Hail.
81 years. It's been a long time. Slip McCartney says, "Have a tenner for the Search for Spot commentary. Loved it." Well, I love doing it. It's good.
More is on the way, eh?
Yeah. Derek says, "I'm glad you included Rocky 2 in your most underrated sequels list. Rocky was the better movie, obviously, but in my opinion, Rocky 2 had the best fight." Fair enough. Yeah. It's a lot of Rocky blocking punches with his face, which is kind of impressive after a while. But yeah, overall, I do think Rocky 2 is a bit underrated as a sequel. I think it actually continues his story pretty well and takes it in a fairly logical direction. It's a bit pedestrian, I suppose, compared to the first one. And really, it's just like a do-over, but he wins this time. But yeah, I got a lot of love for Rocky 2. It's probably the last movie that's got that gritty tone of the original as well before it goes like just over the top cartoonish nonsense where he's fighting like Hulk Hogan and Ivan Drago and stuff. Gets a bit silly. What's this next one? Far King Arso says, I see what we did there. "This is to go towards your samurai sword fund." What makes you think I don't have samurai swords already, eh? Thank you, though, my friends. Kevin O'Neill says, "Water, never drink the stuff. Fish fucking it, don't you know?" That is true. They shit in it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. It does make you wonder as well. The water that we drink today, was that the same water that was once drunk by the dinosaurs? And then they pissed it out? And it finally made its way to us?
I don't know if it becomes, like, more or less cool if you say that we're drinking T-Rex piss. Is that powerful or is that lame? I don't know.
Makes me feel powerful.
Same.
We need a scientist who can answer these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I go to the beach and I look out across the ocean, is that the same ocean that was around back then? Or has it been replaced somehow? I don't know. I don't know how these things work.
Did dinosaurs have movies? And if so, what ones?
Yeah.
Did they have Blade Runner?
Well, they did they have video games? T-Rexes would be shit at playing because they can't reach the
Well, they'd have new
controller.
controllers designed, of course. The dinosaur scientists would come up with something.
Yeah, like sellotape like a big wand thing to their head so they can just like nod and hit the buttons that they need to.
Yeah, they probably had Xbox Connect. That project probably. I just feel like it would have done better with dinosaurs than us. So,
did they have a critical drinker dinosaur back in the day? That's probably what I really want to know. Dennis Kiergaard says, "Hey everyone, cool to catch the live show for once. Always enjoy your shows. Thank you. We enjoy making them." Tipsy Guy, just want to say thanks, lads. You're all great. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Fabersol, should Marvel just reboot the MCU, or is there any chance they can turn it around with the current storyline? There's your answer.
I don't even know that rebooting it is. Just stop, I think.
It does feel like the current storyline is a little bit beyond saving now. When you think about all the stuff with Kang and just how fucked it now is, I don't really see how you can get out of this. Joy Boy has returned, says, "There's no way the new Indiana Jones game will be worse than Indiana Jones and the Race to Save Hitler, right?" I mean, give them time. We all saw that interview with the developer.
We should be fine for not being as bad as Dial of Destiny. We should, yeah, sure, maybe.
That's our very low benchmark. Tech Crisis says, "Someone tell Gary not to mess with Texas. We don't like that California-type littering here." That is true. You could probably get shot for doing that. Troy Manser says, "How likely do you think it is that she'll pop in randomly to other shows as She-Hulk and take over as possible lawyer pop like in Matt Murdock did in No Way Home?" Could you imagine? Just imagine it.
I assume we're at the point where a lot of these actors and actresses, they don't even know if they're ever coming back. Like, when you have like a Captain America, it's like when you make that movie, you almost know if this has any sense of success, we're getting you in Avengers. And the actor's like, yes, but I don't know how much I want to sign on for here. Meanwhile, today, I feel like a lot of actors are like, I'm in Avengers, right? And they're like, maybe.
Yeah. Don't call us, we'll call you.
Exactly. So, I don't know if we'll see She-Hulk again. Maybe we won't.
I mean, I don't know whether the studio's obligated then to put her in a certain number of projects. Like when they sign up, like it's baked into their contract. We're going to have you be in at least 3 films or however many TV shows or whatnot. And they kind of have to stick to that. Or if it's just purely on the actor, like if we call you up and tell you have to be in this show, you have to do it. You have to make the appearance. I'm not sure what the contracts are going to be like, obviously, but yeah, you kind of imagine this crop of actors just being like, please give us something to do. We're bored. Next one is Weirdo with a Cello says, "I can't do it justice in a super chat, but look up Freerin. It's an anime I think even Rags would like. Also, hi Rags. Scritchies for the good boy."
Very appreciate nice. That.
Yeah. Sean Weldon says, "Hey gents, hope you're all well. Didn't know if you saw, but there was an Indiana Jones games trailer posted on X. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. How are you feeling about that?"
Looks really crap to me. And this has nothing to do with like the current state of releases of things. I watched that trailer. It looks like something out of 2010 that you'd find in like a bargain bin. The excitement people have is almost strictly the music and the fact that he's punching people, and it's like, that feels Indiana Jonesy. But just pay attention to how clunky it looks. I imagine that it's going to play very unimaginatively and very straightforwardly, and I imagine the writing's not going to be very good either. But hey, you know what? I could be wrong. Maybe it's great.
Well, I guess we'll see. Fugitoid says, "Have you seen Trolls 3? The villains in it are a play on TikTok React farmers who steal others' talent for their own fame and money. Real fun movie." Well, there you go. Don't let Hassan Piker see it. He'll flip his shit. Nathan Rodriguez says, can't wait for the Ray movie to flop so hard. What are you talking about? It's going to be a massive hit. Everyone likes Ray.
I think it might not flop, but the one following it probably would. It might get away with like, oh, a Star Wars movie, but because they would probably promote it that way. I don't know. Do you think they promote it as a Ray movie?
I don't think so. No, it would just be Star Wars Episode 10, I suppose.
Yeah, like the trailer would have all kinds of imagery that's just, look, it's Star Wars again.
Yeah,
like, ooh,
love us. Lost 77. All of She-Hulk's budget went to the catering and CGI and not to quality writing. Imagine how season 2 would look if they can bully Feige AI in show. Yeah, I mean, as we brought up the other night on Open Bar, like when you've established that the character can do that, just straight up break out of the show and rewrite the ending, like where can you possibly go from there? I don't really buy that the budget went on CGI though, like based on how it looks.
Well, maybe if they had half the budget, it would look even like way worse.
I mean, did you see that? Like, she had a stand-in, an extremely tall woman who could do like visual references and stuff for her, so the actors would know what they're looking at when she's in Hulk form. And I just thought, man, you could probably almost get away with that. Just paint her green and like maybe give her some like fake muscles under the suit, and you've probably just got a She-Hulk there. Maybe that's way better than doing this god-awful CGI. JJ Chili Dog says the new Indiana Jones game is for the modern audience. Well, according to the developer, yes. Scotty says new title will be Daredevil Special People's Unit. Lock it in, yay! I can go with that. Captain Jean-Luc Bacardi says, can I get a synopsis of why Watchmen was terrible? I haven't seen it in years, but I remember enjoying the play between utilitarianism and deontological viewpoints. Why is it hated? Are you talking about the movie? We don't hate it. I think we'd probably point to it as like the one good thing that Zack Snyder's made.
They're probably mistaken about Gary talking about the show, the TV show that came out. A lot of people have forgotten the TV show.
I almost have as well.
One season came out in like 2019, I think.
Yes.
And it got cancelled. It was fucking abysmal.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's talking about that because I think Gary likes Watchmen the movie, and as far as I know, we like it too.
We do indeed, yeah. I made an entire video about why I liked it so much.
So there you go, yeah. Might be Zach's best work as a director outside of Dawn of the Dead. It would be between those two for me, I think.
Marine Lad says, Drinker, would you consider live calls for Open Bar? No, I wouldn't. When you have like 15,000 people watching you live and you put up a phone number for people to call in on, I don't think many good things are going to happen from that. So yeah, probably not.
Yeah, it's way better the way you do it. Like, guests are vetted as invested in the topics and able to have good microphones and stuff.
Yeah. And, to be fair, we do our best to try and bring in as many like smaller channels as we can and like give people a bit of a helping hand if possible, because we've all been there ourselves. So we try to strike that balance of bringing in bigger people that everyone recognizes and smaller channels that haven't had a shot yet. So, it's usually a good balance.
Okay, I'm definitely hearing that window now, by the way.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, damn, it's so loud. It's just we're getting battered by a storm up here in Scotland tonight, and it's really annoying. But I'll do my best to talk over it, I guess. So if this is my final broadcast, I just want you to know that I died doing what I loved, drinking and ranting about things. Next one, Captain Redbeard. I heard a rumor that a character named White Tiger is going to be a new Daredevil show. Is this a good thing if true? And why does she look like a mix of Vixen from Justice League Unlimited and the White Ranger from Power Rangers? I don't know much about what they're actually going to do with Daredevil when it comes out, because it's been redone from the beginning, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've got little information on that. I think I'm just with everybody else of being like, they're going to fuck it up.
Just quietly dreading it.
Yeah.
Javi says, I just got all of the EFAP vinyls and they're all behind me on my bookshelf with the critical doggo. You guys are all awesome. Yay. Thank you very much. Good purchases. Lost 77. Step 1, engage in anti-fan marketing. Step 2, why the fans hope you fail. Step 3, fans are toxic. Repeat step 1 to own the haters. Profit when? Yeah, pretty much never. That seems to be the strategy in a lot of cases. Isaac Adams says, "Hello, MauLer. Now that you've done EFAP for Lord of the Rings, will you do one for the Hobbit trilogy? Also, what were everyone's thoughts on Loki season 2?"
We're on board with doing that for the Hobbit at some point. No time soon, because that project was enormous and painstaking. So we'll have a bit of a gap. As for Loki season 2, we got coverage of that coming out very soon.
Yeah, I have no thoughts on it since I didn't see it, and I'm fine with that. Lost 77 says, "Side effect of hiring people who hate the source material." This is probably She-Hulk reference. Also, they hate the fans. Mia Berg says, "Did you see Daisy Ridley finally found a role in a movie befitting her acting talent? It's called Sometimes I Think About Dying. She plays a woman who is essentially a plank of wood that drives a man crazy."
Okay.
I don't like. This is the thing. Like, I don't hate Daisy Ridley's acting ability. Like, I don't think she's like spectacular or anything. But like, the reason people dislike Rey as a character is not because of Daisy Ridley. I think she does the best with what she's got to work with. It's just not much.
Something ER points out in his, I think, TFA videos that a surprising amount of her expressions are very similar. Including like she'll open her mouth like a gape sort of almost every emotional scene. And the thing about it is, she can cry on cue, and she can move her eyes and eyebrows, and she can make many expressions, and she can come across as though she's very emotionally distraught. So at that point, to me, what she now needs is a director to get her in the right place and force her to do the right things to portray the right emotional states. And I just don't think she's had that yet. I have a feeling that she could be an actress that might have impressed us had she, been given someone who's going to force her into actually putting on a performance that is difficult.
I think the problem that she's going to have is there's nothing that really stands out about her. Like, she's not like particularly interesting to look at from a character actor point of view. So it's not like I would think like, oh yeah, Daisy Ridley, she's like one who can play like the quirky friend or the mysterious looking femme fatale, and she doesn't really have the looks to be a leading lady. And I know that's harsh, but like you can just look at her and say like, yeah, she's not like the Scarlett Johansson, Jennifer Lawrence kind of level, I suppose. And there's not really any getting around that, unfortunately. So I'm not sure what her niche would be.
Yeah, no, same. I haven't seen her in anything that makes me go like, oh wow, that was perfect for Daisy Ridley.
Marine Lad says, "Phantom Menace on PS Plus now. Choice, movie or game?" Oof.
Probably game.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Colin the Cyan says, "How about Mike Flanagan adapting Dark Tower for Amazon? That plus Warhammer 40k, Amazon is poised to sweep the genre content in wake of Disney and Netflix failure." I mean, they could potentially do it. Like, they haven't exactly done themselves any favors with Rings of Power, but if they get the right people involved.
Flanagan, just give him more stuff to do. That's how I feel about that.
I like Mike. Hey says, "Talking about quality directing, has anyone seen Saltburn? Disgusting, deranged, and all-round good fun." People are saying it's weird and like they didn't quite get it, but I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Neither have I.
Sorry about that, man. Otto Deutsch says, "We all know that Rotten Tomatoes rating system is a complete sham. Are there any rating sites you actually trust and use personally when seeing if something is worth watching?" Not really. Like, I'd pretty much just go on my circle of friends and like go on YouTube and stuff.
I don't. The one I buy into the most would be IMDb, and I don't buy into it much. So if a movie has a 9 on IMDb, I'd be like, holy shit, either this is completely astroturfed or it's very good.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if anything has 9 on there, like consistently, like a movie. I think there's some TV episodes that do get to that point, but
yeah.
I find Rotten Tomatoes is fucking useless, like was just said, and Metacritic can be strange. The most reliable aggregate score that I find to exist, it's not movies, it would be Steam. The mostly negative, mixed reviews, overwhelmingly positive, that sort of thing, and it gives you the current and the overall. Like, I find that to be very reliable. If it's negative, then there's a good chance the game is like broken, or it's a part of a very, very destructive cultural thing. Like, there's going to be a context that'll really make it make sense. Meanwhile, what was it? Was Rise of Skywalker like at 86% forever at Rotten Tomatoes or something?
Yeah, when they start getting like fixed in place. Hold on.
And it's just like nobody can make sense of that other than it being rigged. So sorry, guys. Like, there's no way it got 86. This is all happening.
It is 86. Yep. The audience score is 86%. It's
like,
funny because like when I typed it into Google, one of the Google search terms was Rise of Skywalker 86. Just like clearly everyone sees that the game's up.
yeah.
Aussie G-Man says, this podcast has provided me with so much entertainment while traveling. Have $1. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Kevin O'Neill, Tyrone is 100% right on a Luke product being their unthrown Hail Mary. I can see it now. The casual cheers and ugly crying over the trailer simply titled Luke, which will 100% focus on some chick that kicks Luke's ass. That's the problem. Like, if they were to even announce like a Luke Skywalker movie and it's like, okay, we're going to digitally de-age Mark Hamill and it's going to be set after Return of the Jedi, I wouldn't be excited. I wouldn't trust them to make it because I know what they would do to it and I know what they would do to him. It's the same thing they do to all these legacy characters.
Yeah.
Able34 Bravo says, part 1. This is only the second time that I've caught a live stream with both MauLer and the Drinker. But I'm a bit late and starting at the beginning. I'm sure you've had many insightful observations. It's funny to me that this all started with the Drinker joking about MauLer's issue with how Ghost was treated in the last season of Game of Thrones. Keep up the great work, gang. I remember that, actually, yeah. It was something like, oh, MauLer's going to have a field day with this one.
God, that was upsetting.
Oh, yeah. It brought a lot of people together, though, season 8. And that's a good thing. 50 Shades of Grayson says, all these people Disney hired because they're victims are going to turn on them so fast and make them look like the worst bastards alive. Lovely. Well, I mean, I guess you get what you pay for. Samuel Lund says, a Day of the Jedi movie. Is that like Day of the Dead, but with Jedi instead of zombies? Why not Zombie Jedi? No one's ever done that before.
This just feels like the era we're in. Why not this with this? Why not this with this? Why not this goes here? Nobody wants to tell any stories anymore.
Yeah. Well, we had the zombie stormtroopers, which meant absolutely nothing, but they presumably thought it was a cool idea. Good on you guys. Jason D says, what would Open Bar be like at 25 mil an episode? There would be a lot more strippers involved. I can tell you that much.
We'd have to really bump up the production values, I guess.
Yeah. How many could I get for 25 million? Like, is there some kind of like warehouse that they're stored in? You can just go along. How many can you give me for 25 mil? Well, you know, who knows? Maybe one day we'll get to that level. Average Irish Dude says, opinions on Amazon Warhammer Henry Cavill stuff. Well, it's the same thing I've said so many times before. I think Henry Cavill believes a great deal in this project. Like, he's obviously super invested in the world and the lore. And if it was purely up to him, I would think that it would be a pretty accurate and a pretty decent show. But it's not just up to him. There's a lot of other people that have to be involved in this, and there's a lot of money that has to get invested in it. And when that happens, you just don't know how much the studio is going to insist on. And I think Amazon don't have a great track record with this sort of thing. You know, they've had the occasional win, like, you know, Reacher was pretty good. It can be done. It's just, you know, are they gonna be sensible enough to back off and let him do his thing? Time will tell, I suppose. Yeah. I hope it does well, though. I really do. Sandwiches with Mayonnaise says, I heard the Ray Palpatine movie is switching directors to a German-Chinese lady named, I don't even know I can say this, Dangma Kozbik. Yeah, okay. I'm not even going to say what you actually wrote there. It's Lou says, can we please get a live reaction to the new Indiana Jones games trailer? It looks pretty good, if I'm honest. I could, but then with all the licensed music and stuff, we would just get like demonetized immediately. They're pretty shitty when it comes to stuff like that. So might have to put my reaction up elsewhere, unfortunately. But I have seen it, and yeah, just like meh, just like a generic action game. Nice Kalido says, talking about faceless heroes, I really wish I'd never seen Master Chief taking his helmet off in the series. I mean, I think every fan of Halo probably wishes that, really. Kevin O'Neill says the concept of connecting with a faceless character clashes with Disney's ideology that you can only connect with a character if you look at them and look like them, which is fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit on Open Bar. Just this this problem that you have when you've got essentially a faceless hero behind a mask. You're going to have to rely on some really good voice acting and some really good writing to sell that character.
Yeah,
and they don't really have it.
I remember thinking to myself, if ever I was to do some story, I'd love to have a maybe not main character, but at least secondary that's just headless.
Just no head whatsoever.
Yeah, and so it's like you have to find a lot of ways to solve the problem of getting across how they think and feel.
Yeah. I mean, in a purely mechanical sense, I'd love to see how he functions, but sure.
Oh, yeah, it would be some kind of curse, you know?
Okay, yeah. No, that's fair play. Yeah, I mean, it would test your abilities as a writer to get a bit more creative, I suppose, so nothing bad about that. Kevin O'Neill, oh, sorry, no, just did that one. Flummoxed Buffoon says, we're evolving, but backwards. De-evolving, if you were. Yeah. Golem Wolf says, get ready to start watching Ow My Balls. Yeah.
Okay.
Jonathan Thill says, Drinker, what's this? Have you or the rest of the crew had a chance to check out Boy Swallow's universe? I don't believe we've had that opportunity yet, I'm afraid. Sorry. Kohlhauser, remember when Jack Bauer was bashing terrorists? Yeah, I remember that. That was great. I used to love 24 back in the day. I don't know if you ever watched it.
No, Fringy wants me to go through it at some point, though.
It definitely peaked, like probably like season 3, I think. Like they kept it going a bit too long, but it was top tier stuff back in the day. It was, you know, it felt like it was part of that early batch of like golden age TV where, holy shit, we got Kiefer Sutherland in a TV show. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It was good. I liked it. Dumb Blonde says, glad I was able to catch Open Bar live for once. Thanks for being sensible voices in a sea of nonsense. I'd say it's a good endorsement of Open Bar right there. We're sensible, MauLer. We're sensible.
It's true.
Sam Wallace art. Master Chief is defined by his situation. Stuck damage controlling a zombie apocalypse he's entirely unprepared for. Overmatched, but doing what he can with the position that he's in. We feel for him. Okay. OMG Puppies. A rare example of season 2 being the best was Lex, a quirky German-Canadian sci-fi series. Yeah, I remember Lex. It was extremely quirky and extremely weird, but they had some good ideas in there. They just didn't always have the budget to try and realize them. But yeah, man, that was like proper bizarre sci-fi. It was like every episode was a new fever dream from the writers, and you never knew what kind of crazy shit they would get on. And extremely sexual as well. You can tell this like was a European co-production. So yeah, I didn't object. Like this came around the turn of the millennium, so it was like teenage me watching it. So I was fine with it. Yeah, a good odd little show. I should really do a review on it one day. Week 13 says Star Wars just isn't masculine anymore. I bought Star Wars pajamas when TLJ came out that said, I woke up on the dark side. Another friend bought me a Millennium Falcon t-shirt and it was pink. There you go. That's the proof right there. I mean, the force is female for you, it seems. Will Johnson says, horrible thought. What if Harvey Weinstein was the gatekeeper, keeping all the woke garbage out and kept great storytelling alive?
What?
It's like if you were presented with that Sophie's choice of like he has to be like reinstated and like his record expunged and you can remove all the crap from Hollywood. Would you do it?
He is the crap of Hollywood.
It's interesting because it seems like a lot of the movies and a lot of the choices, I guess, with political messaging in films that we've had over the past several years have been a reaction to him and what's come out about him. So I don't know, man. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy with him. I certainly wouldn't want to see him out and about and doing what he does. Tone Star says, I'd still say Shane Walsh is one of the best written characters and made those first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead so enthralling, and hated Laurie. Rick eventually becoming Shane in ways only proved it. I mean, a lot of it's down to John Bernthal, I think, like delivering your usual great performance. But yeah, Shane was an interesting one. You kind of felt for the position he was in. I don't know if you'd kept up with The Walking Dead at all, or at least started it.
I controversially think that season 2 is like hyper abysmal, and that season 1 is nowhere near as good as people say it is.
Oof. Is there anything you like, or do you just destroy art?
Power Rangers, probably. That's pretty
good choice.
Yeah.
I think probably, like looking back on The Walking Dead, I think I was just entranced by the zombies to some extent, and you had a lot of like soap opera style character dramas going on in the midst of all this, and some lovely gruesome, fight scenes and killing and stuff.
I think I watched seasons 1, 2, and 3 because I remember the governor, and then I think I tried to keep up with it because in university people were talking about it, and I remember when, is her name Claire or something, blonde girl who gets shot in the face. That was one of the funniest death scenes I've ever seen in my entire life. And
I remember, is that when she's in the middle of a rant or something and she just gets it?
No, that's one of the newer ones that's apparently gone viral because I saw that clip as well. I was talking about like it's in a hospital. She like stabs a police officer or someone who's wearing a police outfit with scissors, and then she like reflexively shoots her in the face, and then she gets shot. And I remember it's one of the you'd have to see it again. I remember laughing so fucking hard. Some of the deaths in The Walking Dead overall, they're just so stupid.
Yeah,
like, you could tell they were just like, I'm sorry, we're killing this character. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I do remember the early seasons being quite invested in it because you did start to care about the characters, and you knew that no one felt safe, particularly when they started killing off characters like Shane, and they also weren't afraid to kill kids at times as well, which was really fucking surprising for a show.
Bold.
Yeah, and it's great when they make choices like that because, yeah, you really feel like whenever people are put in danger, like they could bite the dust. So it was good from that point of view. I just got burned out with it eventually. I think particularly once you got to that Negan stage with the big war that they have against him, I was just like, you've traded like a post-apocalyptic zombie survival story for like really shitty action scenes of just people shooting blindly at each other, like, and it's quite badly staged, and you're trying to overreach yourselves, and just that was me. I was done by that point. I had no interest in continuing any further, and it's a shame. It was a good show in its time. It just overstayed its welcome, I think, worst of all. But yeah, I do remember that episode that, it was so infamous when like 2 major characters got killed off by Negan in the same episode. It's like, damn, man, this just feels like mean at this point.
Yeah.
The Gaming Angel says, Part 1, MauLer and Drinker, been watching Hung you guys for years and love your streams. Okay, thanks. I hope I'm not being annoying if I ask you, can you help a girl and my buddy who also loves you both? We have a big stream planned for next Friday. There's a part 2 here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Friday, January 26th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We were inspired by Chris Gore's Oscar stream. We're making our own Game Awards stream on the channel Coolman229 called Gamers Voice Awards. Well, there you go. You heard it here, everyone. Go and watch it, I guess. So Friday next week, go and see it. Also, part 3, live polling for every category. Some nominations you two would approve of. Thank you both for all you do. All right. Best of luck with it, man. Shakala King says, another recommendation on the heap of recommendations you've already had. Please consider watching Pluto. Excellent one-season sci-fi anime about a series of murders. Well, I can add it to the list, man.
Yeah.
Stephen Jordan, don't forget the first season of True Detective. Oh, there's a couple of reasons I like watching that. Anyway, moving on. OMG Puppies. Westworld Season 2 had one nice episode where the Native American robot visits the underworld to find his dead wife, an ancient story told by Sumerians and ancient Greeks. Yeah, that was another. Well, it was an odd one, I guess, where you just have a whole episode that deviates with a side character that kind of goes nowhere. But
Never
yeah,
saw it.
you saw season 1, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good place to stop. Just pretend nothing else happens after that.
Mm-hmm.
Pierce Bylight says, if you like Will Jordan books, check out Paul Sussman. No, check out Will Jordan. I hear he's better. Sam Wallace Art says, Ice Age Baby was always better than Baby Yoda. There, I said it. All right, you've said it and it's there. Riker's Beard, which was always epic back in the day, says, Hail Drinker, MauLer, Gary, Echo, and Tyrone. Thoughts on the new Indiana Jones video game trailer? Yeah, as people have been asking us, MauLer doesn't think much of it.
No.
And yeah, I just thought it was there. Just generic action, I suppose. Cyberhunk says, so Hollywood elites are depending on the youth of a child to get what they want. Oh, wow, this is in no way meta at all. Well, there you go. Snex says they'll make Grogu a mute so he won't be speaking privileged. That's the worst kind of privilege, isn't it? Being able to talk.
Talkie privilege, yeah.
Yeah, as we said before, I just don't think they'll age him up because he's too cute as he is, and he's too profitable as he is. They don't want to change that. Party CV says Dark Council. It's called the Moffrence. That's a much better name for it, actually. Lord Botha says Bill Burr's character is the only interesting character that shows any nuance or emotion in The Mandalorian. And you're not fucking wrong either. He's like the only guy I was kind of interested in when he gives his little speech. It's like, oh wow, they're giving this guy a little bit of history here, and I kind of get where he's at and why he's doing what he's doing. It's nice. I like that. Von Room says Rachel Zegger can play a Gungan because her eyes are already so far apart. Lol. Well, there you go. Martin Marvin says Disney don't seem to care about dollars anymore. What House of Cards stuff do you think is going on behind the scenes? I shudder to think. Nelson Peltz is apparently making another move to get board seats, so that would be a nice little drama. See how that plays out over the next month or so. No unique username says Star Wars and all future movies will try to be more like Fortnite since it has all the characters and they never truly die.
Oh, great.
No one's ever gone. Andrew says, what if Jar Jar was a Sith? Yeah, it's a classic story. I could buy into that.
Yeah, I'd watch it. It'd be great.
Non-Vitae Rex says, Infinities? Does that mean they're going to adapt the comic where Yoda hijacks the first Death Star and crashes it into Coruscant to kill Palpatine? Now that I'd pay to watch. John Orchard says, reset the timeline by having them go through the Guardian of Forever. Some go through the good ones and the bad stay behind. Reset complete. I mean, fuck it. I might as well do that, yeah. It's as good as anything else. Operational Creative. Super 8 and Rise of Skywalker were both J.J. Abrams movies where the main characters just needed to be nice to the terrible monster in the cave. Yeah, what a difference a decade makes. Yozerian88 says, hey all, wondering what your view on the -1 ending is. We get that frankly bizarre news about Noriko. The film also reveals something on her neck. Godzilla has amazing regenerative abilities. Any link there? I think, yeah. There almost certainly is. I don't know if a human can get infected with the Godzilla.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with it, but I guess we'll find out.
Because, yeah, I did wonder what your opinion was going to be on her just being alive. Hey, she survived. That was lucky.
Absolutely, it's a plot armor, but I mean, it's there's so much working in the film that a couple of things here and there I wouldn't have. It kind of does depend on what they're doing with her neck and everything, because you could find a way to be like, I don't know, that she's mutated now, and that's why it even explains why she survived. But I probably would have killed her.
I mean, if you're kind of assuming
put her in the situation she was in the first place. I talked about it on, I can't remember which show, but just I don't think it matched the film too well to kill her, and that's why when she brought back, I was like, that's better. But it also means that she had immense plot armor. So
Yeah, I'm assuming like whatever like radiation effects there were from the nuclear testing affected Godzilla and allows him to regenerate. Like his atomic breath is just a mini replication of that, and so either only some people are able to absorb that and become one with it so that they can regenerate like she did, or
maybe.
potentially everyone who was just injured in the blast there is also going to come back, and I don't know, they might end up being like weird Godzilla zombie type things in the next movie. Who knows? But at least I'm interested enough to want to know, which is kind of a rare thing. Albert Nada Retro says, "Yo, dude. Oh, I thought that was modern day Renaissance man. My lousy white guy eyesight. Well, what can I say?" Normie says, "Remember when people who controlled IPs made things for the fans? Oh, I remember. Yeah, we all do." Scotty says, "Same feeling watching Generations where Berman destroyed the Enterprise D. I cursed that arsehole with every name under the sun. It was a main character." Oh yeah, I've just ruined Star Trek Generations for you, MauLer. Sorry.
Oh.
If it's any consolation, though, that movie's pretty shit, so you're not missing out on too much. So it's all right. Grendel Vivat, come on, drinker. What was Kirk supposed to do? Bypass the compressor? That's true, this, I think, was us talking about Chris Pine's version of Kirk, who just kicks the warp core until it starts working again, which is
Star Trek.
Definitely something you can do, yeah. Thunderbolt says, "I think Maya's retcon power could have been Marvel's take on Deku from My Hero anime. Spoiler, Deku's quirk is One for All, is a generational power revealed to have latent abilities gained through its history of users. Deku's story involves honing his skill with the spirits of previous wielders while living up to the legacy of his mentor and having to fight an evil crime lord. Lots of parallels to Maya's story if she was better written." There's so much you could pick apart with Echo. I mean, everything just feels half-assed. The whole like echoing the spirits of your ancestors things just feels so tacked on.
Oh
like
yeah,
that's the work of an entire season right there, just to make that work in some way and give it a satisfying payoff. It's just this weird ability that she just now has.
yeah.
So,
I mean, the best you get is that it's because she's come back home, and it's like, so it didn't work when she was young and at home, and it only works when she's like in that area, or is it her power she's permanently unlocked now? And then she was there for a while, and her life was threatened a couple of times. They didn't echo then, like. So what's like, what the fuck? just whatever. Dumb power makes no sense and comes in for no reason.
It's whenever the script says it's relevant, that's when it happens. Yeah. DRT is King says, "Here's my idea for a great Star Trek movie. Bring back the cast of Star Trek Enterprise and do a Das Boot style Earth Romulan war movie. A series of sets with good writing and the best cast since TOS." They did have a good cast, and Enterprise was always a little bit underused. I just feel like nobody's got like that strong feelings about the show that they would care now if they did movies about it. And also, I just feel like war is not really the Star Trek thing. Like, you can certainly have battles and confrontations and stuff in it, but I wouldn't want to see like an entire series of movies just about war between like Earth and the Federation and Romulans or whatever. Like, that just feels like that's not really what Star Trek's meant to be about. It's meant to be exploration and, finding new perspectives on things. Like, that's, yeah, it's probably not what I'd want to see. Pooty Evans says, "You're not my real dad, Din Djarin. Teenage angst Grogu." Yeah, you can just imagine it now. The Angry Badger says, "Live in the Star Trek universe and play Star Wars on the holodeck." I never considered that, actually. In the universe of Star Trek, Star Wars does exist. Shame they never reference it, actually. Just think, oh man, this is so shit and unrealistic. No, like, the holodeck offers up so many possibilities, and I feel like the show always tiptoes around it. And I suppose you've not really had much exposure to the holodeck as a concept before.
Not really.
But yeah, essentially you can make anything you desire real. It's like being inside a video game where you can like touch and interact with the environment. I think you can even eat food and drink whatever's there. you know, so it's fully interactive.
Hmm.
And you just know that every single person who goes in is going to use it for porn. Like in any real world, that's what it'd be used for. But yeah, the show is always very, I don't know, very gentle around that sort of thing. It's always used for historical purposes, you know, very innocent. Tom Fuller says, "I laugh so much when you guys get together." Good, I'm glad you do.
Yeah.
Mike Productions says, "The only way to salvage Star Wars is to adapt the EU Legends stories. There's so many well-written characters there, like Jana Solo and Mara Jade." Are we ever going to see a Mara Jade in movies?
What they usually do, right, is they take pieces of that and then get a different name for whatever they're doing at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds
That's
about right. Yeah, it seems like one of the worst things they could have done was decanonizing all that stuff, because there was a wealth of stories out there. And I have to assume that even if like 10% of them were actually pretty good, like that's still a huge well that you could draw from. And they chose to just throw it all out, which is an interesting one, I suppose. Echoes of the Ancients says Ricardo Montalban. And that was it. That was the message.
All right.
And sometimes Ricardo Montalban is all you need. EC90 says, "I'm just back from seeing The Boy and the Heron. I'm not sure if it was good or bad, but you'll have opinions. It has made a lot at the box office." Yeah, I still have to see it. I'm intrigued, though. Bird Up says, "On the subject of underrated sequels, what do you guys think of Halloween 3? Or does it even count considering it's unrelated to the previous films?" Yeah, that was a weird choice they made with that one. I think that's when they experimented with the idea that the Halloween series would just be like an anthology series and every movie would be like completely unrelated. I quite like Season of the Witch. It's because that's what it's called, isn't it? Halloween Season of the Witch. Yeah. It's very goofy and very distinctly like 80s low budget horror kind of feel. But I enjoy it. And it's just got one of those great like cop out lines as well, where the bad guys have transported the entirety of Stonehenge into like this underground lab in America. And the bad guy's like, "Oh yeah, we had a hell of a time getting it here. You wouldn't believe how we did it." Anyway, moving on. It just never talks about it again. But yeah, it's such a weird departure from everything else in the Halloween series. It's an interesting one. Odin's son says, "I revisited some classics, The French Connection, Chinatown, and The Final Countdown. I'd love to hear the panel's thoughts on these films that hold up and are better than 99% of anything today." So, French Connection, yeah, great bit of like 70s crime noir. The Final Countdown, that's that weird time travel thing, isn't it? I'm sure it's like,
I'm not familiar with that one.
I think it's like an aircraft carrier from the 80s gets transported back in time to like just before Pearl Harbor, and so they can hypothetically use all their fighter jets and stuff to like shoot down the Japanese fleet and change the course of history. But should they do it? I'm just going to check. And what did you think of Chinatown while I'm doing this?
Oh, I haven't seen that in ages. I saw that when I was a youngin'. So I don't think I can sort of say anything of interest about that one.
Yeah, it's the one I'm thinking of. So yeah, 1980 that was made. So yeah, it was one of those like weird, like little concept sci-fi movies. I'm sure I had Kirk Douglas in it as well. Maximilian Millerick says, "Hey lads, have a drink on me. Drinker, could you review Redline 2009 with Gundam? It's an awesome race anime movie. Its Cherry Boy Hunter might sway your heart from Tatiana." I don't know. That's going to take some doing, I'm afraid. I'm pretty loyal to her. But yeah, Redline from 2009. Let's have a look. DBD Crown says, "Hey Gary, why are the Buffy comics seasons 8 to 12 bad?" Oh, he can't answer that. Do you know anything about the Buffy comics?
I only ever saw summaries, and I was like, "No, that shit ain't canon. I'm out." Like in terms of events, it starts and stops with the TV shows for me for Buffy canon.
Matthew Dent says, "Panel, what was your favorite War Machine armor from the MCU? And do you think Rhodey was underused or wasted?" I thought his armor stayed fairly consistent once you get to like Iron Man 2. unless I'm going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is I don't feel he's prominent enough to notice, like, significant changes, and I don't know how anyone could come to the conclusion other than he was absolutely wasted. What
Yeah.
was the point of him?
I mean, I like the concept, and I would have loved to have seen just more rivalry or more interaction between him and Tony. I think
Mhm.
there's something really interesting there about like two rival Iron Men with different philosophies, clearly. Um, but yeah, like I always got the impression his armor was literally just the Iron Man armor, but with more fucking stuff glued onto it, like more guns, whatever.
Yeah.
Less elegant, less efficient, but like more firepower, I suppose. Um, yeah, I mean, I've talked about this before. Like, I hated what they did gradually with the Iron Man suit. How it was this very like technical, mechanical device that actually felt quite believable. Like, you got to see all the gears and all the inner workings of it, and then it just became this stupid nano suit that like flowed over him. Like, it just feels like such a waste. It feels like that's missing the
Well,
point of what makes Iron Man so cool.
especially by the time you hit, like, the end of Endgame where even the CG is starting to suffer. Obviously, in Phase 4 and 5, we've really seen it suffer with the nanosuits.
Yeah.
There's, stories that could be interesting to tell with him, like Bleeding Edge, or, him getting so intertwined with the suit and the mechanics that it starts to, like, he can spawn it from his skin, and, we can maybe have some allegories running of his obsession with trying to stay strong, powerful, fast, and ready to go at all times, which is something that the MCU kind of played with, and then the story ends, and it's like, oh, there you go.
Yeah. Wade Parker says in Dark Passage from 1947, Bogart's face is not seen for half the film until he has a plastic surgery, and then we see his face in a mirror, shot from the point of view of his eyes. Wow, I did not know that. So there you go. I'm a bit of education there. Eternal Zen says, random question: is Xena Warrior Princess worth watching as a sword and sorcery IP, or is it just a big lesbian baiting adventure? I'd say it is worth watching. It's definitely made from a very different era of filmmaking. Yeah, I remember. This is how old I am. In like the mid '90s, when Channel 5 was launched, it was like the flagship show. It's like, oh man, I get to watch Xena Warrior Princess on like a Sunday afternoon or whatever. And I just remember it being like pretty like innocent fun, I suppose. Like it just felt like an adventure show. I think they started to lean into the sort of lesbian romance between Xena and Gabrielle. I think that was her name. More towards the end in like the later seasons, but yeah, not a huge budget. Clearly, they were working within a lot of limitations, but I always found it just really fun. It was a fun show, and they occasionally did bring out some pretty serious, dramatic storylines. I always like the one with Callisto, I think, who was like a little girl in a village that Xena like destroyed when she was still like evil. Because that was her whole arc. She used to be like a warrior mercenary type who redeemed herself. And then this girl became like obsessed with her and started like imitate her and stuff, like so that she could eventually fight her and destroy her. And I thought that's a pretty cool arc for a villain. I like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was like a weird sort of precursor to Buffy, but like with more fantasy elements thrown in. I don't know. It had that same sort of vibe to it, I suppose. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I suspect it might not age. It might not have aged well. Mongo Hotline says, "Sorry, that name." Watching Drinker and MauLer chew the fat is the wife and my favorite thing to see on screen. Drinker, good on you for keeping your journalistic integrity, man. Easily said, but seldom done. MauLer, you, sir, are a god of visual puns.
Well, thank you.
And thank you from me as well. Maximilian Millerick says, for the panel, what is everyone's favorite foreign film?
I'm gonna have to roll out some classics here. Foreign meaning anything other than primarily Western, right? So I could
Yeah.
we'll throw in Battle Royale first as one of the best
Yes.
of its kind of all time.
Oh
I
boy.
think, yeah, sure, that would definitely be in my running. Funny enough, the Hunt, but 2012 being the, I want to say, Swedish movie, which I will force you to see at some point. They'd be like my top ones.
Yeah.
See if I've
Train to
got any.
Busan, I would throw in there. The Raid, really liked.
Yeah.
Godzilla -1, I suppose, fairly obvious, but yeah, very recent. Anything else? Sisu, that's obviously Finnish. Really like that.
Of course, it's finished. They released it.
See what you did there. Yeah, and Downfall, actually, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a German production, and Das Boot. So I guess those would be some of my choices.
Those Europeans are so wacky. They made a whole movie about a boot.
They did, yeah. I love Beerfest as well, how they referenced that, because they had Jürgen Prochnow in there, and the ultimate challenge was doing Das Boot, like a drinking boot. That was a good reference. I liked it. Yeah, I should do a review of Downfall actually sometime. Feels like a movie that doesn't get any coverage nowadays. Anyway, John Oakletree says Old Man Gary and the Goku stuff. Yeah. What can we say? What was you? Yeah, what did you call Goku? Groku or Grogu?
Grongus? I don't even know anymore.
Grongu, yeah, Grongu. Dr. Gore says, Drinker, with the success of Godzilla -1, do you think Hollywood will finally give us the Nessie film that we've been waiting for? We already had it with like Ted Danson, and it was shit. What was that called again? Fuck. I'm going to have to look that up. Ted Danson, Loch Ness. Oh, it was literally called Loch Ness. Okay, fair enough. And it had Ian Holm in it as well. Bilbo Baggins himself. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the Americans could probably answer this if there was any of them here. Like, is the whole Loch Ness thing just not a thing anymore? Like, nobody seems to talk about it. Nobody seems to be like making any documentaries or movies about it anymore. Is it just done? I'm not sure.
Yeah, not sure.
Tatiana Ferreria says, I don't know what you're saying there. Bona noche, everyone. Other than Godzilla -1, is there any other 2023 movie worth watching? I watched Leaving the World Behind yesterday, and boy, that was a big old waste of time. I mean, well, we've done our coverage of the year already. I suppose Oppenheimer was a good choice for watching. I liked Sisu. I liked One Piece. I liked Blue Eye Samurai. We're trying to think of anything else that I recommended.
I need to see Kills the Flower Moon.
Yeah, it's not like great. Ball of the House of Usher, I think, was really good. Yeah, go and watch my review of 2023. You'll find some recommendations there. Coyote One says 13 Hours is Michael Bay's best movie. Well, that's clearly not true because it's Armageddon. Mikau Cox says, if I had a clone machine, I'd clone Gary Busey 10 for both families and a host of Family Feud, and everyone involved would be Gary Busey. Yeah, I would go with that for sure, yeah. Did you ever watch, there was a documentary about him called I'm With Busey, and it was just a reality thing where the host just hung out with him for like a couple of weeks. And it was the most ridiculous, insane shit that he was doing. Like, he decided he had to stick a cork in a cow's ass because it was producing too much methane. So he made it his mission to do it, just because he's Gary Busey, I suppose. It was impressive stuff. Keaton Kitsune says, just want to say, the Drinker and MauLer's Happy Hour on Wrath of Khan convinced me to watch it. I actually really enjoyed it, so thank you. There we go. We've won somebody over.
No problem.
Thank you very much, Keaton. Matt317. Hey, MauLer, your figure just arrived and it looks great.
Excellent.
Nice. MauLer's non-threatening unit says, hey, Drinker, review of I Saw the Devil. You need to watch Witch Subversion. Okay. Dan says, there is a convincing video by Pentex Productions that has a video essay that explains how Mason in The Rock is really James Bond. I've heard the theories, and I'm fine
It's
with
a
it.
neat theory.
Yeah. The Bob that God made mad says, thoughts on the idea that The Rock could be the last Sean Connery James Bond film? Why did all these come at the same time? It's weird. Must have been talking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm fully on board with that theory, and I like it. Rated M says, for the panel, has anyone seen videos from the Corridor crew on YouTube? It would be great to have some of them on to cover some of the changes on the FX side of the industry. By the way, Soska sisters soon. Who are the Soska sisters?
They're the lasses that are involved in the Ripperverse. They were on Real BBC.
Ah, okay, cool. Yeah, the Corridor crew. Not too familiar, I'm afraid.
Seen a bunch of their stuff. Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, they're the lads who know a lot about CGI and stuff, and do loads of special effects, fun things.
Cool. Knuckle Hunky Bunk says, I played the shit out of Super Mario World. What's the name of Rainbow Road? Star Road, Drinker. It's Star Road. Yes, indeed. That was my drunkenness starting to show through. But yeah, I love that like hidden area. There was one level on that. I think it was called Tubular, and fuck me, that just about brought on a cerebral hemorrhage when I was like 12 years old trying to complete that one. That was one of the toughest levels I'd ever played. Yeah, I hated that one, but it was a good sense of accomplishment when you got it all done. But yeah, Super Mario World, great fun. Robert Moran says, rewatching Arcane and seen teaser for season 2. It's a bit early, but do we have any reason to think they'll ruin a good thing with season 2?
Well, no more than, I guess, usual. Like, there's no meta information, I think, that would be any catastrophic as far as we know, right?
Yeah, as far as I know. Yeah. I'll keep an open mind on it. Hopefully it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Eli Cash says, what movie from your adolescence did you go see in theaters and to this day you regret having gone to see it? Probably the Flintstones movie. That's the only one I've ever walked out of a theater of. I just was so fucking bored. I hated it. Just wanted to leave. That's my only regret, I think. And the Super Mario Brothers movie. That was fucking terrible. that was like 93, so I would have been like 9 years old or something. Like, Jesus Christ, that was awful. Yeah, I don't know if you've got one.
Oh, one that what was like the criteria again?
Basically, that you just regret seeing in theaters, like it was a waste of your time, and it had to be from your adolescence, so like you had to be young.
Oh, trying to think of like disappointing theater experiences when I was young. There would have been like plenty, but I don't know if I've ever. I almost feel like sometimes when I watch a bad film in the theater, that was the. I wouldn't have known that was the case until I had done it, so that's okay. Like that was the exchange of information almost. I went there to know, and now I know. It's got to be something, because I would more likely pick like a John Wick 2. I was like, what a fucking disaster was that? But I know that's a controversial opinion. Maybe something. I'm trying to think if there was anything like really long, and I just didn't really care that much about it, so I was just awkwardly waiting for it to end. There's got to be ones. I'm just struggling to come up with them on the top of my head.
Nah, that's okay. Camille Zagadulin says, hi, Tyrone. Tyrone says, hi back to you. Thanks. Shinbrig TV says, hey, Drinker, have you seen the new TED TV series, and what are your thoughts on Seth MacFarlane? I didn't know they were doing a TED TV series. Jesus, 2 movies was probably enough for me, but...
I've seen clips of people saying it's like the funniest TV show ever, and then I watched the clips, and it's Family Guy jokes, and not even great Family Guy jokes. I was like,
Yeah, not great. It's just, I don't feel like they needed more of Ted. I think 2 movies was enough. Knuckle Honky Buck says, in a fight between Captain Marvel and Ray Palpatine, the only winner is Kathleen Kennedy. That is true. And the only losers are us. Mr. 19 says, did anyone watch the first episode of True Detective Season 4? No, that's the one with Jodie Foster in it?
Yeah, I've not heard good things about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it, I'm afraid, so I don't know. Captain Quark says, hello, Drinker and Malls. What do you guys think of the Mad Max series, and how do you all feel about Furiosa not having Max in it?
I don't know, man. I don't know what we're getting with Furiosa. I guess we could only give it a shot, but I don't know. I'm not super hopeful about it.
Yeah, considering the environment and the climate that it's going to get made in, I can sense where it's going to go, and I just don't want it to do that. The Mad Max series in general, yeah, a lot of fun. Like, especially man, you watch that first movie, that is brutal. Yeah, you can see like the influence of Hollywood on it as the budgets crept up and maybe it became a bit more conventional over time. But yeah, overall, it's a good series. Jacques Goossens says, which Eastwood movie is your favorite? And I think I know which one you're going to pick, MauLer.
Well, then, I guess over to you.
Well, I won't pick that one because I guess it's an obvious one. I'm going to pick Where Eagles Dare. And I'm not even sure you could class it as an Eastwood movie. Technically, he's in it, but he co-stars with Richard Burton. But it's one of my favorite war movies of all time, and I just think he's absolutely badass in it. So that's going to be my pick.
If I'm not allowed to pick Unforgiven, I'll go with $1 Million Baby because he stars and directs that, right?
He does, yes.
I remember sort of being sold on the film, being like it's a girl who's going to become a really good boxer or whatever, and I was like, I don't really care. And then I think it took like 10 minutes before I was like, okay, I'm really interested. And then by the end of the film, I was tearing up. That's a tough one to watch, that one.
It is. Fuck me, it's a depressing ending.
Yeah, it is.
The other one I was going to pick out, I suppose, would have been Gran Torino. Fantastic performance from Eastwood. Just, yeah, absolutely nails it. And I guess it felt like his goodbye to movie making, but obviously he's carried on after that, which is a shame in some ways. I would have been happy if that was his finale, but never mind. The Gourd King says Abby's actress is 5'2". Joel getting the short iron. Is that true? Is that what they've picked for this?
I don't know what the fuck's going to be going on with the show Vision, man. Like, I would say when they cast this girl, I was like, they're going to put her in like a CG bodysuit. Like, how is this going to work?
Yeah, because I kind of saw headshots of her, and she just looked very normal and like not really anything like the Abby from the games. So yeah, that's a bit of an odd choice.
I was like, do they remember Abby from the games was a joke? She was huge. Like, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to see. I'm so fucking curious about how they're going to adapt this.
I mean, do you think they're purposely trying to go in a different direction then? Because it's like we know we're just going to get slated if we try and do a big bulky Abby that's like a powerhouse.
There's a chance here that they will actually shift things around. That I think we're still going to be like angry and disappointed with the story, but I do think there's a chance here that it's not going to be one-to-one with the game.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot actually when season 1 was coming to an end. And it's like, okay, you know, you've got our interest, you've done okay so far, but it's really going to hinge on how you adapt the the part 2, because good lord, that is a minefield to walk through.
Part of what was so painful about Last of Us season part 2 or game part 2 was Joel had like no spine when he was very strong in the first game. I can see them definitely recreating those scenes where Pedro Pascal Joel is like, "I'm sorry, I saved you because I'm selfish and I just wanted, just bullshit basically."
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Siberius says, first show I've been able to catch since I got stationed in Korea 14 months ago. Damn, man. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we made it worth it for you. Big Boys says, do you think channels like New Rockstars fake liking the new Marvels movies so they can get access to seeing it earlier? Probably.
Like New Rockstars are the kinds of channel where I just like I don't even know how they feel about anything. I just know that they know what hits the algorithm.
Yep. Rosetta Stoned says, are any of you all into anime? I highly recommend and would love to hear your opinions on Attack on Titan, some of the best storytelling I've come across. Well, it's funny you should ask that because I've finished season 1 and I've very much enjoyed it so far. Yeah, great stuff, and I'm excited to see where it goes next. It's a great show, but I'm not an expert on anime by any means.
Seen a decent chunk of anime here and there, but very much not an anime person.
Idioticisin says, fret not, Drinkoid. Your ability to mind control Indian people has been catalogued on the EFAP wiki. Superb.
Neat.
Because I apparently have been able to turn them against certain movies because I'm that powerful. So it's impressive.
Yeah.
And last of all, Dennis Kiergaard says, have you seen Ravenous with Guy Pearce? It's way old, but I really like it. Ravenous? I don't believe I have, no.
Same.
Sorry, man. Okay. But anyway, that was the final super chat.
Oh my.
So, oh yes. We got to the end, and hopefully we've answered your questions as best we can anyway. And apologies for, like, you know, as we said earlier, the crazy like howling wind in the background for me. My house is still intact for now, so but I definitely need to invest in some new windows because fucking hell, that was loud.
I guess we can expect at least a few more drinker videos.
Yeah, I'll survive this one, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, thank you for all your awesome super chats. Thank you for being so generous. And we will catch you at the next open bar. So, for now at least, that's all we've got for today. So go away now.
Bye.